Let's go.
Wednesday afternoon.
I think it was the second half. It was played in our half. The whole game was played in our half. And when the second half ended, I switched off. I thought, I'm not watching this. It's torture. It was torture watching it. And I kind of, I kind of wished. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of wish we had Eric Ten Hag back.
Never. You wouldn't wish that. You wouldn't want Eric back.
This is how low.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can, because dRem, I mean, I quite, what I know of him as a football manager, I quite like him. I think he's inherited a basically poor team, and until he gets his own players in, perhaps in the summer, I'm not sure you can hold him too much responsible for some of these results. But they certainly don't play as a team. And, players like Casemiro, who is an excellent player, has been an excellent player, perhaps he's got a bit older now, but they don't play as a team very well. They've got some good individuals, as we often say, but somehow it's not clicking. And, to lose that FA Cup match the other day is not really what you would have expected, quite honestly, in the recent past. Manchester United were too good for that. I see again recently in the press, Jim Radcliffe, they reckon he can appease the fans by giving them a new 100,000 seater stadium, which will probably happen, something towards that level, which I think might involve moving the ground very slightly, or, of course, rebuilding the existing one, which we've talked about before. I think the fans probably want to keep players like Garnacho and Mainu, because they are very good footballers, but some of the old guard there, maybe in defence, they need a reshuffle, or more than a reshuffle. They need some new, younger quality players. And if he can produce that, if he can get those in the transfer season in the summer, I think he could well turn out to be a very good manager. He doesn't seem to panic too much. He doesn't even seem to look too stressed out as you would think a manager would be. But that said, let's face it, most football managers in the top echelons these days, the top leagues, are multimillionaires like the players are. So it's not like they're under threat of pecuniary, of having no money to feed their families. They're very rich people. Having said that, nobody wants the ignominy of being sacked. And I don't think they'll sack him at the moment. I do sometimes wonder about Jim Radcliffe. I think he's got the interests of the club at heart, but he seems to be ruthless as well. He's got rid of a lot of, I think 450 employees is the latest count of people he's sacked. And it makes you wonder what they were doing if they can so easily throw away those jobs. What was going on, sort of thing. But no, it's a surprise to see Fulham beat them. And of course, moving that along, who are Fulham playing in the next round? Well, my very own Crystal Palace, who there's one or two things to talk about there from last Saturday, aren't there? Not least lots of fans there from Millwall. I think there were around 3,500-4,000 fans, tickets they were given. And just as the game began, or just fractionally before it started, we were looking at, from our stand, the main stand. We looked across to where the Millwall supporters were, and then basically the club had arranged it so that they were in that kind of third of the whole stand opposite. Then there was a couple of sections.
Our family and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday, so join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom.
Basically, the club had arranged it so that they were in that kind of third of the whole stand opposite. Then there was a couple of sections where they were covered with material, so there were no seats given there. And of course, all down the sides of the Millwall fans, you get stewards and police. Then you get these couple of gaps, and then it's Palace fans there. And out of the blue, just before kickoff, I think it was, we saw this Millwall fan suddenly break through the cordon of stewards and start running over this material stuff to get, I think it was a picture of it in the papers as well, and it said, one Millwall fan tries to take on an entire stand of Palace fans. Well, I mean, it was obviously not so much funny, potentially, it's ridiculous, but he broke into this Palace bit, and then a lot of Palace fans, before the stewards then were descending on him, but before they could get there, the few Palace fans were trying to throw him out, get back, and he started throwing punches at them as if he was going to take on the whole that stand of Palace people. And of course, he was then completely, the retaliation was somewhat, and the stewards probably came down and saved his life, because the most crazy thing to do, to try and break through that cordon. What would he have had in his mind? He was possibly drunk. I don't know. He didn't visibly look drunk. But anyway, that was a strange beginning to it. But then literally 5 minutes after kickoff, I don't know whether you saw this, but there was the most appalling challenge by Millwall's goalkeeper. He came out, and it's not as if it was like our centre forward, JP Mateta. If it's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, you kind of understand the goalkeeper rushing out of his area, which is what he did, and often they try and head the ball away, don't they, to beat the. But there was another one or two defenders with their goalkeeper, but he still rushed out. Now, John Philippe Mateta, excellent player nowadays, and one of the most popular players, not just at Palace, but in football. He's a loved Frenchman. He's brilliant, and he's 6'4" tall. And in this challenge, he was jumping. Now, the goalkeeper managed to kick him on the side of his head, so you can imagine how high the goalkeeper's foot was. He kicked the ball, but then the follow through with his foot really got to his ear, and he was out on the floor for about 13 minutes, Mateta. And the incredible thing about this was, that the referee, I suppose thought to be our top referee, Michael Oliver, he was within about 5 or 6 yards of this incident. No one in between him. It was the most, we could see from where we were, it was the most.
Our family and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday, so join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom.